Peace. Quick little think fast. Real think fast like it used to be. But anyway, just thinking about how now is the time to, downsize. I ain't gonna say downsize, but if you're gonna be dealing with particular deities, or AKA some of us know them as gods, but if we're gonna be dealing with these, and I always speak to this, of course, they were created first and foremost. They were created as a representation of a certain energy. The energy in essence doesn't have a physical, form or a physical interface or a physical name, like to call upon. So, us in the ancient times, we created, a certain look like Thoth became like a ibis head god because it was the energy of source that deals with the Akashic records and recording things. So with the little the little bird, the ibis, would always, like when it puts its head in the water and fishing, it looks like it's writing. So they chose that as a representation, but that doesn't mean that there's a god with an ibis head that you should be worshiping. Another factor to this too, we always understood that these things are internally inside of us. You know what I'm saying? And with that, you want to deal with these energies as if they're within you, or as if they are you in just different aspects of you, and not as it's something outside of you that you gotta constantly, because even with, and say for instance, even with giving offerings, you're not giving offerings as a sense of like, all right, something outside of me is what I'm worshiping. It's more of worshiping or dealing with, because we don't never want to really deal with worship. It's just more of giving thanks, reverence, a certain type of, just anything except for worship. Because more so just the energy that word brings. It's almost like praying, I'd rather say affirmation or deal with affirmation instead of sitting there, because praying has more of a asking vibe. As a matter of fact, speaking again back to dealing with, certain deities and gods, if you praying to a deity, like indirectly, like, on a subconscious level, on a true level, it's basically like saying, well, I don't embody this energy, so let me go outside myself to reach out to something that's outside of me, as if I'm not everything that exists within the human body, So keep that in mind, that if you're going to interface with any of these gods or deities, you want to make sure you're dealing with it in a way where this is internally inside of you, And honestly, I keep it real. And if you feel like your subconscious isn't fully to that state of like really knowing, then it may be more detrimental than helpful for you to deal with those types of energies, like with dealing with putting offerings out or dealing with an altar, stuff of that nature. Because if you're gonna still be of the vibe of thinking like you're interfacing with something that's completely separate from you, then that's gonna become detrimental. Now, what I really want to get to in this video is how the guys, just like a computer program, or just like the situation in the Matrix, where you got certain beings in this Matrix, certain computer programs that not only may not want to upgrade, like it's certain programs that don't want to upgrade, they want to, certain programs want to stay running like how things ran when it was Windows 98. Then it's some programs that I was gonna say, speaking of the programs that want to keep things running the old way, that don't want to grow. But what I'm speaking to, though, it'll come back to me, is basically how some of the gods or deities is in a place where they're not really moving forward in this future place. So that's another thing, like this Matrix is we're evolving, we're growing, and so that means too, though, that some of these gods or deities is staying in the past, like we evolve into something new. So if these gods not evolving, then if they're not evolving, they stand on a certain level that's in the past paradigm, in the past construct. So we have to just be aware and be careful of the way we're dealing with certain deities, because some of them right now in essence is in cahoots with keeping you in your physical. Like they're just trying to keep. Matter of fact, it's the demiurge, like a vibe of like ego within the spirit. You know what I'm saying? Where that spirit, that energy of a Oshun, Ogun, just for example. You know what I'm saying? Some of those types of energies want to still be Oshun and still be Ogun and not evolve to this next paradigm what we're moving with. So in essence, when you call it upon some of these beings, especially when you're not seeing something inside yourself, when you call upon them, they're going to work with you in a manner that's going to help them. And if they want to see the paradigm stay the same, they're going to help you in a manner that's only going to keep things the way it always been. They're not going to fully help you to elevate to be the God that you are. You know what I'm saying? And of course, dealing with that energy, is a lot of us now are, being in essence embodying that God-like energy, or being the new gods of this paradigm. So if I'm an old deity or old God, I'm not gonna put, and I want to keep things the same and not evolve. I'm not gonna let the younger gods or the younger beings know that, hey, they could be God, or that their time is coming right now. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm gonna try to keep things, old and stagnant in the way it used to be. So just long story short, with dealing with certain energies, you might want to make sure you're really, really resonating with the deities and entities whose names you calling out and dealing with. Because even down for myself, like, I only deal with the certain energies that I know is fully embodied within me. Like the energies that, like the Papa Legba Oshun energy / the Kali Ma Lord Ganesha energy. That is me. I am that. Like, that is no outside God, but also those energies are embodied in me, but I am not those gods or entities, so to speak. I am my own being, my own unique vibrational signature. You know what I'm saying? And if we continuously borrow things that are old and continue, that's another thing. Like, we got to keep things evolving, so we're not interfacing with the ancestors and these deities the way we used to. We evolving with this. So like, all the old ways of doing things is gonna be changing piece by piece, evolving. So again, you want to make sure you interfacing with energies that really resonate with you. Because another thing too, with some situations, some of these guys staying stagnant, and then some of them are growing to another level, where they got a complete name change and everything, like kind of like from Carl Ray to Universal Frequencies. At in one set of the centuries, you call upon Carl Ray, and that had a certain type of vibe. But then as things change, you know what I'm saying, and that Carl Ray energy evolved into Universal Frequencies. You should be tapping into Universal Frequencies, but because the old construct and all culture taught you was the name Carl Ray, you don't know that I switched up to Universal Frequencies. So you still calling up on the Carl Ray energy instead of the newer Universal Frequencies energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing with a lot of these guys who, they got these older names and this older energy, but they grew just like we grow and transform. I was about to say go through a transformation, and we grow. So the same thing on all those levels, even down to with offerings and stuff like that. Like with offering a deity or a certain energy the same type of food. It's like, would you like the same type of food over and over again? Well, then that energy wouldn't. And then think about it like this: you're dealing with energies that's inside of yourself. So deal with it like you're dealing with yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing of this situation. And I just think, I just felt the energy of how important it is to share this, because a lot of us right now, a lot of stuff is going on, and you may be calling to the ancestors and, certain deities, but in a way that may be harmful, that may be hindering you. Because another thing too, it calling out to the ancestors, again, you want to make sure you're specific, and it may be a case where you've seen somebody call out to all ancestors before, you know what I'm saying? But the reality of that situation is, you know, that person may have been making somewhat of a mistake in doing that, as far as like, you know, we dealing with particular energies or energies that's beneficial to us. So if you are calling out to like a bunch of ancestors, you want to call out to all the ancestors who are beneficial to my soul growth, you know what I'm saying? All the ancestors that benefit my mind, body, and soul. You know, not just like all the ancestors, because all the ancestors is Uncle. Don't put the word, don't stereotype the words with the situation, but you know, Uncle Lester, that Uncle Lester, the child molester. You know what I'm saying? Like he in the plains too. You know what I'm saying? Like all those energies are present. So you know, you may not be wanting to call out to all the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Because all the ancestors may have not been about a certain energy that would uplift the soul when they were here, you know. So that's another thing to think about as well, you know. But just more importantly, you know, just the evolution of what we're going through in general. You know, some guys staying stagnant, some evolving, you know. Same thing with us, as above, so below. Some humans is staying on Windows 98. Some of us is, you know, moving forward. Matter of fact, because in essence, realizing that we are more than being humans, you know. While some people stand in the old construct, Windows 98, that old program that don't want to keep it moving, you know. So just with that being said, you know, and again, like with the example I spoke on with the Carl Ray energy or the universal frequencies, but like quiet as kept, you know, I grew into universal frequencies, and ancient texts don't speak on that, you know, hypothetically speaking. You know, ancient texts only tell you about calling upon Carl Ray. And don't forget too, these energies, the names is dealing, you know, interfacing with that certain energy, you know. So that's why tapping into our own energies, you know, matter of fact, kudos to, you know, Brother Panic and Bobby Hemmett and whoever else I've heard speak on this, as far as like, you know, you got to interface with these energies on your own. Like, of course, you could read a book about Papa Legba and Ishu and Kalima and Oshun. You could read a book about it, but, you know, the real knowledge is in the experience, you know, and you really interfacing and not trying to, but really, you know, putting forth the effort to connect with these beings, you know, or with this energy. And realizing when I say, and this how fucked up the English language is, because every time I say those beings or these beings, it always just carry a connotation of speaking on something outside of you know, because that's just the way the words are set up. You know, the Babylon language is just designed to fucking have everything confused, you know. That's why with spiritual connections, we do better speaking less, because all the words do is just lock us into spells and lock us into a certain construct. But when I'm speaking of dealing with the gods or the deity, I'm all speaking of dealing with this, and this is internal. You know, Oshun is my solar plexus. I'm basically just interfacing with my solar plexus energy when I'm interfacing with Oshun. You know, or the solar plexus / sacral, to be, you know, fully clear in essence, because it does deal with fertility, you know. But that's what I'm interfacing with. That is not something outside of me. I present these things outside of me because I am also in the physical world, so I'm going to deal with it internally and externally, but while still knowing that it is inside of me, and all of it is a part of me. I'm not dealing with nothing that is outside of my being, you know. Like, that's the whole game of trying to get people to believe in Jesus, is trying to have you worshiping, giving your energy, giving your chi to something outside of you. You know what I'm saying? That way you won't be able to become the God that you are, you know what I'm saying? If your potential is to be a God, you know, on that full level, you know, you won't become it because you're giving out your chi to all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, you know, I'm scared of Jehovah, or I'm scared of, you know, Jesus, you know, locking your energy down, you know, point blank period. Like, and we are here to bring forth, you know, evolution. I mean, things won't look, you know, the same. I mean, a lot of us, you know how they got so many people that wrote books before us and stuff like that? Guess what? you know, some of us right now are gonna be writing new books and bringing in new information. You know what I'm saying? But you won't be able to do that if you just keep on thumping and harping on the things that were told to you in the past. You know, if you keep lingering on to all those past situations, all the, you know, the folklore. And matter of fact, shout out to Seven Bomar for breaking down the etymology of that. Like, you know, the folklore, like some other folks lore, like luring you in, you know, some other folks, you know, and folklore is like dealing with culture, and culture is like, you know, how they talk about the, you know, you're familiar with the kombuchas, the bacteria cultures, like it has so many amount of bacteria culture, or culture like being on a petri dish, you know, like your culture is like being on a petri dish, you know what I'm saying, in that essence. But back to where I was. It is culture. It'll come back to me, you know. But point blank period. Oh yeah, the folklore, the culture. See, back off of it with the past. Like we're growing. Of course, some things. That's another thing too. Some things from the past will be used in a transformed way. You know what I'm saying? Like in a modified way. I mean, when you look at the way that say for instance, like the old form of being a shaman is transformed into a new age thing where now shamans is making videos on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Instead of relaying the message fully through the ethers, you know? Like it's a, you know, things are evolving, constantly growing and changing, you know? But by holding on to the old things, you know, things won't evolve, you know, things will stay the same by still dealing with the same old gods, beings, and deities, you know. And of course, we're gonna again interface with some of these energies, but I'm really catching the download of how a lot of this will be changing, you know, and to the point where I'm gonna be sitting down, tapping into this energy more, and seeing, like, you know, what new names and symbols and different energies is there out there to tap into. You know, in essence, it's gonna, and what's real about it is, as I sit down, it's gonna be stuff coming from inside of me. You know what I'm saying? In the essence of like, well, I'll catch a vibe, and it may be something that, you know, that I am creating in the essence. You know, for as I'm creating, you know, from my unique consciousness. But you know, again, it's just about tapping into these energies and knowing that it's one with us. You know, also again being aware of that things are changing, and as things are changing, some of these energies are staying stagnant, staying the same, and trying to keep you staying the same. And think about it, energies inside, like the energies inside of you work to keep you the same. So again, it's nothing outside of you. There's energies inside of you trying to keep you from not growing, you know what I'm saying? Think about when that full moon come out, you want to go to doing all the stuff that don't really serve your spirit. That's coming from inside you. That's nothing outside. Of course, the moon outside of you is active, but it's all of what's being activated is inside of you, you know what I'm saying? It's internal. But that's basically it. Just wanted to share that because I got, you know, again, think fast, I caught that vibe, you know, of sharing that information. Just remember, everything is internal. You're dealing with yourself on all levels, all the people you see, everything outside of you. And in order to change this world, it's not about changing nobody outside of you. I always use the example. If you got a problem with purple shirts, it's not about going around trying to tell everybody to take off their purple shirt or try to take the purple shirt off of people. It's about going within yourself and finding out why you don't hate purple shirts, and if the reason why you dislike purple shirts is for a righteous reason, then you work internally inside yourself to change. You focus on seeing a world without purple shirts. If that's what's gonna benefit us all, you know. It ain't about, if you want to see the world without purple shirts, It ain't for you to go around like, hey, take off that purple shirt. Hey, you go inside and you continuously every day program your subconscious to see a world without purple shirts, and then eventually you step out day after day and see that, all right, there's less people wearing purple shirts. You know, it's the inner work. You know, all these little government officials, Donald Trump, all this shit disappear once you go internal. Not you trying to go external and trying to be a, matter of fact, especially going back into politics, like none of that gets fixed externally. You know, and that's the whole joke, and that's the chess game where they still kind of got conscious people believing, because that's what a mix-up too, and I'm gonna leave on that, the mix-up of us balancing things out. It's like balance means being present in the physical world and the non-physical, you know, on a balanced level. That does not mean giving in to the physical world's bullshit, you know, just because you're in the physical world. You know, like, I'm not gonna try to become the president to change, you know, no, the job is still, you know, how can I say, the true spiritual way of doing it, going internal. You know, like, of course I'm going inside myself, and there's gonna be physical actions that I take to help the situation, but for the most part it starts inside of me. You know what I'm saying? It starts with my own visions, you know. So it's not about trying to become a politician and, you know, basically play the same game, in which to each his own. Some of us may be able to stay connected in spirit, get up into the politics and probably do something, you know. This world, everything is possible. I try not to be that person that's gonna say everything is possible and then talk like something isn't possible, you know. Everything is possible, but, you know, it is what it is with that. But peace, happy now. Now is to vibrate. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.